Welcome to YouTooSpain, broadcasting live on YouTube. On today's show, we'll be chatting with our good friend Fran, the property lawyer, all about the mistakes people make when buying property in Spain and how to avoid making them. We'll also have an update on the golden visa for you because people are still applying for the property element of that. Yes, they are. So get on the live chat and find out everything you need to know. And if you're watching the video back after the show, there will be chapter headings below not long after the show ends today. So you can easily scroll through and find the answers you need. Look out for loads of handy information and lively chat from beginning to end. Stick around for the whole thing. You're all very welcome to YouTooSpain. Still alive? Let's dance. Oh yeah, groovy baby. Right then, just before we get chatting, excuse me, don't forget to sign up for free to the monthly newsletter from our website, YouTooSpain.com. Says it down there somewhere. And that's your chance to stay in touch with everything to do with YouTooSpain, including the written versions of the information videos that we do on Wednesdays. And you can get offers from recommended companies and much more. So sign up now to benefit from that. Speaking of recommended companies, find the special link below to enjoy a free account and advice from our lovely friends at Smart Currency Exchange, whom I highly recommend for when you're moving to Spain, or especially if you're buying a house here. But do use that link below to get in touch with them. That helps YouTooSpain out at no extra cost to you. It's a win-win-win with a cherry on top. So, without further ado, let's meet my wonderful guest for today. It's Fran, the property lawyer. Hola.
Hola, Andrew. Thank you so much for having me here again in your show.
You're welcome. I remember that I really enjoyed it the last time, so I was very happy to get you back on. So great to see you. Let's see who we have on the live chat this morning. People are just joining us. Steffi, good morning from a very grey and wet East Midlands. Oh, you're in the East Midlands. I used to live in Leicester. There you go. Need some sunshine. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Keep up the positivity, Skatz. And FOF, hashtag. There we go. No throat today. And TB1, great name. Good morning from a cloudy and cold Scotland. And Steve Moffat. Is that the writer, Stephen Moffat? I love your work. Morning from a cloudy Congleton. And I'm a Doctor Who fan. Great. Yeah, it's probably not the same one, but it would be lovely if it was. Anyway, so do you have anybody to shout out to? Any of your clients you'd like to say hello to?
Hi. Yeah. So hi. Today I would like to share with the people something that I feel every day in all my meetings. Okay. And this is something to share my knowledge free for all your followers. Okay, we will give a lot of good tips, and probably we will save some money from them.
Absolutely, yes, and that is the whole point. Absolutely. And hello, Tim Hawkins as well, just joining from a beautiful sunny Nerja, just down the coast from us and just along the road from you as well, Fran.
Yeah, Nerja is very near. It's something like 25 minutes where I am in Montreal.
Yes, I've still not been to Montreal.
Yeah.
Must get down there one day. Right, so just before we get on to today's topic, let's have an update on the golden visa, because you were telling me the other day that quite a few people cancelled their move to Spain when Prime Minister Sanchez announced the potential stopping of the golden visa for property purchases. So what's the situation now? People still applying?
Yeah. I remember this week when Pedro Sanchez explained the intention to cancel the golden visa, because we had a lot of people looking for properties to buy over 500,000 euros in order to apply the golden visa. And with this Pedro Sanchez announcement, probably 90 of them put in standby the process. But the reality at the moment, the golden visa is still alive. We are applying golden visa for clients It's true they tried 2 weeks ago to approve not the final cancellation of the golden visa, is because this is not something easy to do. Okay, they have to send a preliminary law to change these things, and probably it will take some months. But because the government in Spain at the moment is not very stable, they didn't do that. That means at the moment all is still the same before Pedro Sanchez mentioned this about the golden visa. If you find the property right now, you will have time enough to apply the golden visa. Okay, and it's also important to mention that if you get the golden visa before any cancellation of the golden visa, you will keep all your rights, okay, according to the previous law. This is very important. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So they're not going to change that part of the law?
No, at the moment, we don't even know if we will have the same government in month, because the Catalonia elections, the negotiation. Now we have the European election here. This is a very important key point to know if the golden visa will survive or not.
Yeah, it's interesting. If there's any problem with the government and any elections coming along, then that will just stop any laws going through for quite a while now.
Yes, from my understanding, only Pedro Sanchez has this intention to cancel the golden visa, because the other, the PP party, mentioned that they don't have the intention to cancel it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good to know. Okay, then. So, hope that covers everything for people wanting to know about the golden visa. So let's get on to today's topic. We're talking about the top mistakes. You've got a list of 10 top mistakes, and like you said, this is something that you tell all of your clients when they get in touch, because these are very, very common ones, and people need to know them so that they can make sure they don't waste money. So take us through. Let's start with number 1. What's the top one?
Yes, the number 1 is signing a reservation contract with the estate agent without having it checked by a lawyer. Okay, probably this is one of the most important tips we are going to give today. Okay, because the common way to find a property here usually is through a real estate agent. Okay, but it's very typical, before even to see the property, they want to get the document signed by the possible buyer. Okay, but not always this document is in English and in Spanish. Okay, but even being in English and in Spanish, there an important question here, that is, okay, how I am going to pay something without the legal check of my lawyer. Okay, the key here, in my opinion, is to see if the payment of the deposit refundable or not. Okay, because you can think, okay, the normal thing is it has to be refundable, no? But the reality is probably 80% of the documents I have to share is non-refundable. That means that you, the real estate mention, okay, no, firstly you have to pay the deposit, and once you block the property, then we'll see the legalities of the legal check. But imagine something happened and the lawyer says, okay, we have a problem here. It's non-refundable. You're going to lose the money. Usually it's no less than 3,000 euros. It's a lot. For this reason, I strongly recommend the clients don't sign anything until we check even this document, because the common way to do it for the real estate is try to push you a little bit, okay? Push you to sign the document, pay the deposit, and then we will see. And this is something I don't recommend.
And this is different from the actual deposit on the property. This is a specific one just to reserve.
It's even different, because it's from the beginning. They say, okay, if you want to block the property because now we have a long lease, okay, the property is in the market 1 year, and in the moment one person has some interest on the property, a long list of people appears to buy the property. This is very common, but it's not the reality. They are going to push you a lot to try to get this deposit from you. But be careful, because if it's not refundable, it's a big problem.
And sometimes there's more than one estate agent who's looking to sell you the property. And so, yeah, that's why they want to confirm it with them.
And also, another problem we discover in this kind of documents is the time scale, okay? Because they say, okay, firstly, you have to block the property and pay the deposit, the beginning, no? Only for blocking the property. Then you will have to sign the private contract, is when you usually have to pay the 10% in 7 days. And then you will have to go to the notary for completion in 3 weeks, in 1 month. But imagine that the buyer doesn't have NIE, the buyer has to open an account, or the buyer needs to move some investment to get all the money, or imagine that the buyer will need a mortgage. This time scale from these reservation documents doesn't allow you to do all these things in time. That means any payment you did, you can lose it. For this reason, is before to sign anything, speak with your lawyer. Okay, this is the document. Do you think we will have time enough to do this in this time, or can we negotiate this? And probably this is the option. Negotiate this time scale, because sometimes it's not possible to go to the notary in 4 weeks.
That's right, yeah. And sometimes your client might not have their NIE number immediately. They're waiting until they've picked their property, yeah. And sometimes you can't get an appointment in 3 weeks.
Yes, especially NIE. As you know, today getting an NIE is something like magic. Okay, it's not easy to get appointments. It's not easy to get the NIE. This is one, especially in my first meeting with my clients. This is something I advise in advance. Okay, even if you are considering to buy the property in 6 months, 7 months, or 1 year, try to get the NIE as soon as possible. Because once you find the property, if you don't have the NIE, we have to wait. And this is a lot of pressure for the buyer, okay? Imagine we are not able to get appointments, and that means that, okay, work in your NIE in advance to be ready. In the moment you find the property you love, you will be ready to buy.
I know I've advised people on previous videos, a year or two ago, oh, it's all right, you don't need to get it in advance. Your property lawyer will sort that out for you. And it doesn't take that long. Of course, now it's a bit different, isn't it? Yeah. So let me just say hello to some others who've joined us. Terry Gibson, good morning. Looking good, Skatz, keep dancing. Yes, indeed. Morning to Nelly and S. Morning from London. How's London today? There we go. Right, let's move on to number 2 then. This is quite a similar one. What's number 2?
It's quite similar, but okay. I want to explain that it's not because I am a lawyer, okay? I have some interest in get clients, but the second one is not using a lawyer in the purchase and relying only on the real estate agent's advice, okay? The reason for this is, in my experience, in 24 years, the percentage of professional from the real estate I know, they are good professional. They know more than selling properties. They know even about the legalities. It's no more than 10-20%. Okay, that means that if you rely in a real estate agent with not a lot of experience, they only are very focused in the transaction, okay? But a lawyer will show you more than this. The lawyer will think not only in the legalities of the property, the lawyer will think even in the future, okay? When you decide to sell the property, question about the taxes or the taxes related with the purchase of the property, or even for the future. Okay. For this reason, I strongly recommend to use a lawyer. I know that, especially in UK or US, Canada, usually this is something very clear for them. Okay. But not for other countries. They try to save the money of the fees of the lawyer, and it's very common. The real estate agents, okay, don't worry, we can help you with this. You will not need a lawyer for this because it's easy. Okay, but the reality is even in easy purchases, it's not easy. Okay, you know, as I always said, is we the lawyer are cheap from the beginning if you use a lawyer from the beginning, but when we are really expensive is when we have the problem on the table. Okay, and then we have to find solution. Okay, I'm completely sure that if you use a lawyer from the beginning, you will avoid not only to lose money, you will avoid a lot of stress.
Yeah, very true. And it's important to make sure you've got your own lawyer, not just necessarily the one that the estate agent recommends, because there might be the same lawyer that's operating for them. There's a conflict of interest there.
Yeah. This is very common. It's okay, we have a lawyer in the company, blah 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 blah. But you know, it's common sense, no? If the interest of the real estate is to sell properties, it's clear. I can tell you, okay, 100% the lawyer of the real estate is not going to be independent. Okay, I'm not saying this, but if, okay, you know, it's better to have an independent lawyer and avoid any conflict of interest. Okay.
Yeah. And I have to say that some of the estate agents I've had on this show they seem to be the really, really good ones, because they recommend not their own lawyer, but they have people that they know are really good lawyers that they recommend. So we're not dissing all estate agents on this show, because there are some good ones out there, and it's good to know. So let's get on to number 3 then. Okay,
this is more a strategy that a reality. Okay, because the number 3 is not mentioning from the beginning that you have a lawyer for the purchase, even if this is not true. Okay, and this is a psychology strategy. Okay, because now I have a lot of clients looking for properties, for example, in Idealista. Okay, this web page with a lot of properties. We have more than Idealista, but sometimes my clients find private seller. Okay, and what happened with the private seller? Sometimes they are scam. Okay, or they are selling properties with problems, or even they are not the owner of the property. They ask for the money from the beginning, even without any documents. Okay, in the moment you mention, hello, I have a lawyer for this. Okay, and my lawyer will contact you. Okay, in case we decide to buy the property. Okay, if you mention this from the beginning, you will filter the scam, because in the moment they hear, okay, there is a lawyer, they know they are not going to be able to sell the property to you or to get some money from you. Okay, if you use, if you find not a private seller, if you try to get the property through an estate agent, in the moment you mention you have a lawyer, they are very aware, okay, about what kind of property they can show you. Okay, only mention this, you are going to filter, okay, a lot of scam and good professional. Okay, only mention this.
It is a very good way of checking out whether your estate agent is bad or not. Just don't mention it for the first minute, maybe, and then just drop it in.
Okay, for my experience, when you mention to a real estate that you have a lawyer, usually they are happy with this if they are professional. Why? Because we are going to facilitate all the transaction, okay? Because in the moment they know the buyer has a lawyer, they know, okay, we will contact the lawyer, we will send to the lawyer all the legal documents. They are happy with this because they know we are going to facilitate all the transaction. But if the real estate say, no, 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 don't use a lawyer, be careful, be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me just say, S from who said morning from London says it's sunny there. Lovely, that's awesome. And Depressy, that's a funny name. Morning from rainy Huddersfield, the UK. And Marie Dye, hello Marie, morning guys. And we have Bill Anderson on as well from Mihas. Good morning, gents. A very useful topic. Yes, it is indeed, Bill. I'm finally reading your book. Peanuts Don't Grow on Trees. It's excellent. Your first, not your first book, but your first political satire. Fabulous it is too. I'm calling it my chemo book because I've been reading it while I've been having the chemo going in my arm, and yeah, it's good. It's keeping me amused through that. So yes, highly recommended. Susan McGee says, good morning from Tenerife. Michael Lowe says, morning all, enjoying the content, along with my eggs and bacon. Oh, stop it, you're making me hungry now. Okay then. Moving on to, Tanya. Tanya Harms from Granada. I need to change my glasses. These are the more close-up ones. That's better. Yes, good morning from Granada. Okay, number 4. What have we got on number 4?
Okay, number 4. Not visiting the property or the surrounding area without the state agent. Okay, it's true that you will find a very nice professional in the real estate, but it's also true that they are going to be very focused in the property. Okay, they are very focused in showing you the property inside, terraces, or something like this. Okay, but it's also important not to see the property you are going to buy. It's also important to see the surrounding area, okay? Because sometimes you can find a very nice property, but you don't know if there are problems with neighbor, you don't know if there is a noisy place. My advice is, okay, go with the real estate to see the property. If you have the opportunity to go again without the agent, go there and try to get feedback from the neighbors. To speak, imagine that there a bar under the building, something like that. Try to speak with the neighbor to get some feedback about the area. Okay, because sometimes the property is very, very nice, but what's happening if there are problems with neighbor or any other thing? Okay, my advice is, if you have the opportunity, go there to see the property without the agent. Okay, you will get a lot of information, a lot of good information to decide if you want to go ahead or not.
I'd just add to that one. This is way more in advance. Find the area that you want to move to by going to it a few times and at different times of year as well, because there are some areas that are just dead in the winter.
Yeah,
and if that's not what you want, I mean, you might want that. You might want to be isolated and lovely and out in the campo and nice and quiet. But if you need the bars and
in Spain, we live. The people live a lot of time out in the street, terraces, bars, things like that, and this is noisy. It's noisy. Okay, I have some clients that say, okay, Fran, we are living almost all the time in the campo. For a month or 2 months, we need some some sounds, people. Okay, it's fine. Okay, but depending on what kind of place you want to buy, it's very important to discover how is the area in the winter or in the summer, because it's very, very different. It's very different.
Yeah, I made a video last year saying why you should avoid living in the campo, And I reminded people of it. I posted it to a few Facebook groups, especially here in Computer, and I got a backlash from it of people who just saw it for the first time, saying, "How dare you say this? Why should you give advice on how to? You don't live out in the Campo." I mean, I live slightly out in the Campo, but I can walk to the town from here. But yeah, there was a backlash of all these people saying, "I've lived here for 20 years and I love it in the Campo." And
but fortunately, we have all kind of properties. This is the good thing. If I have, for example, two clients from Germany, they are a doctor. They suffer a lot of stress, and they found a property in the middle of the mountain. Okay, and I remember I mentioned, okay, be aware that this property only have solar panels. Okay, the property doesn't have potable water. Okay, tap water, and you don't have Wi-Fi. They said, that's perfect, Fran. That's perfect. We want to be in communicate. Okay, communicating. Okay, if this is what you want, it's fine, because it's this kind of people who are all the time with a lot of stress, and when they come here on vacation, they want to be very, very disconnected.
It's true. It's true. And then suddenly, after 8 months, they found out that they're sitting at home, and they really miss some of the excitement of being somewhere full of noise, and because that's why they were living in somewhere with full of noise in the first place, I think. So, yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to know. And sometimes I've said to people in the past, why don't you just rent for a while in a place, find out if you actually feel comfortable with it, and then.
Yeah, this is a very, very good advice. I now, with this question about the golden visa, Andrew, I explain to the clients, okay, they are very worried about the cancellation of the golden visa, but to buy a property over 500,000 euros is not an easy thing. You have to make a lot of research, you have to see the place, and I cannot recommend to anybody, okay, buy any property. No, this is not a good advice. Even in the case the golden visa could be canceled or not, my advice, okay, rent a property, try to discover the area, drive around the area, and in the moment you find the property, if the golden visa is still alive, go ahead. If not, try to find another way, okay? But you have to be very careful about what kind of property you are going to buy, even if the golden visa is canceled or not, okay?
Absolutely. Steffi has a question. Fran mentioned getting the NIE early, even if you're not looking to buy for 12 months. Can we apply for the NIE ourselves?
Okay. This is something I explain all the time in my Zoom meeting with the clients, okay? We have 3 different ways to get the NIE, okay? The number one is through the Spanish embassy or consulate, okay, wherever you are, okay? But this is not, sometimes it's difficult to find appointments there, or they can get the NIE for you, but in month and month, depending on what kind of rush you have to get the NIE. The second option is to apply in person in Spain. Okay, but the problem for this is, depending on it's not easy to get the NIE appointment, because you have to get online, and in the calendar to apply the golden visa, the police office, the golden visa, the NIE, the calendar, they only give you 1 week usually. That means that you cannot get an appointment for 3 months or 3 weeks. You have to be every week checking the website to get the appointments, okay? And in some areas it's not easy, okay? Especially the capital, Malaga, Barcelona, or Valencia, is not easy. The third way to get this, and in my opinion is the best and the faster, is through a lawyer. Okay, we usually we can get appointments almost every week at the police office, and we can use the power of attorney from the clients to get the NIE. Okay. Once we have the power of attorney with us, because we are getting appointments almost every week, we will be able to get the NIE for the clients. Okay. In my opinion, this is the best way to get the NIE.
Yeah, that's actually how I did mine, because I'm self-employed. I needed to get my NIE first because I'm EU as well. I needed to get my NIE first and sign on for Social Security, so I had health insurance before I could register as a resident and prove that I had health cover. So that's I got, and it's called a limited power of attorney as well. It doesn't mean you're giving all of the power of attorney to a lawyer. It just means just for that particular.
Yeah, you can. Okay, what I usually recommend. Okay, it's not the same if I only have a client for getting only an NIE, or if I have the client to buy for the whole procedure. Okay, in that case, we usually send to the client a general, what we call a general power of attorney. Is very wide. Okay, it's not only for getting the NIE. Usually cover all the legal procedure to buy the property here. Okay, taxes, NIE, open the bank account, and all these transactions. But it's also true that you can make a power of attorney only for this. But now, from my experience, the cost of a power of attorney, for example, in the UK, is unbelievable. It's unbelievable, because I hear from some clients something like £1,000 is amazing. It's awful, because here in Spain, if you come to Spain, the widest power of attorney will cost you 180 euros. 180 euros. Sometimes I advise to the client, okay, probably it's cheaper to take a flight from the UK, come to Spain, signing any notary, and back again, because £1,000 is very, very expensive. Imagine to pay £1,000 only for getting an NIE. It's not worth it. It's not worth it, no? Now I am investigating the possibility, because we have a new law for the notaries in Spain that probably will, allow to the notary to make a power of attorney through like a submitting, okay? Checking some special things, and power of attorney special only for not the general one, okay? That means that you will contact the notary by a video call. The notary will explain you the power of attorney for you in English, and it is a Spanish power of attorney. It's cheaper, and at the same time, you don't need the apostille or any document like this, okay? And probably will be a nice solution for these transactions.
Great. The other thing I'd like to just add to that is that if you are getting the NIE from the consulate, you don't go to the BLS centres in the UK, which is where you go for your non-lucrative visa, for example. You go to the actual consulates.
Yeah.
So that's handy to know. And let's see. Oh, Eclipse Me says, good morning from Donostia. Would you talk about how to find a good lawyer? That's a good question for you, Fran.
Wow. My advice here is very clear. I usually offer to all my new clients a free initial Zoom meeting. Okay. I give the possibility to the possible client to know me, to speak with me. I usually answer any question from them, and then they will see what kind of lawyer you are. Okay. Sometimes it's a feeling about the conversation you have the client. If you feel comfortable with your lawyer, with the person. The other thing is try to see Google reviews. Probably, okay. This is the modern world now. Google reviews is very, very important, and probably you can get some information from there. It's also true the lawyers. We are speaking from all the lawyers. Okay, we need probably to be more on the internet, but now lawyers specializing in international clients we are probably all in the west in the internet or Google Map and things like that, and probably it's a good option to know what kind of lawyer you are trying to hire.
Good. Hope that answers your question there. Let's see. Tanya says, hit the like button. Yes, absolutely, everybody. Hit the like button if you're getting some information from this. Jed is saying, I nearly bought a place in Salgar through an estate agent who said he was the sole agent for the property, only to find out that when I walked past the property later in the day, another agent was there.
Yes, this could be half an explanation, Andrew. Okay. Now it's very common for the real estate try to get the exclusive of the property. Okay, that assure for them they will be in the transaction. But it's also true that even having the exclusive of the property, they can share with another real estate the property and share the fees. Okay. That this is something they usually explain. Okay, you have the exclusive with us, okay, but we are going to put the property on the system where a lot of real estate will have access to this property, but all the other real estate only will be able to buy the property through the real estate who has the exclusive of the property. This is probably the reason sometimes one of the real estate has the exclusive, and then you can see another one showing the property. Okay, probably this could be the reason.
Good to know. Thank you. Well, I think we might be about halfway through the show, very close to it anyway. So I think we'll go to the mid-show break, our usual short break, which is a quick message from me and my alter egos about all of the things available to you as a YouTooSpain fan. So let's do that now. We'll see you in 2 or 3 minutes and enjoy. Are you getting the most out of YouTooSpain? I don't know. Did you know that apart from these Saturday morning live shows with expert guests, or expats with really exciting stories to tell, it's like the Graham Norton show. Bah! There are videos every Wednesday evening, packed with all the information you need, so we can move to Spain and enjoy living here without paying tax. No, Colonel, that's illegal. But you can find out how to navigate the bureaucracy successfully. Well said, Walter. How do I find the videos? Just subscribe to the YouTube channel, darling. And click on the bell, you useless Colonel. There's a playlist here called Video Diaries. Oh, now that is Skatz's thrilling personal story about his life and health in Spain. Still alive! Hashtag FOF. You can support YouTooSpain as well, my darlings, if you think you've learned something valuable, or if you've been entertained. Skatz looks like he needs your support. The poor bugger can't even stand up. If he was a horse, I'd shoot him. Colonel! He's not a very nice man. It's all right. He's just a two-dimensional stereotype. Aren't we all, sweetie? I'm not. Brexit! Moving on! So how do we support YouTooSpain? Use the QR code in the corner. Or there's a link in the video description below. I can't find it anywhere, darling. In the video description, you idiot. I've warned you, Colonel. I'll send you back to the nunnery. While you're watching or pausing, below the video, you'll see the title. Just here. Oh, I see it. Not far below that, there's a description of what the video is all about. It says, read more. That's right. Just click or tap on that and lots more text appears. What's the information all about? There's contact information for the expert guests and lots of links to other related companies that I recommend. And they help out YouTooSpain if you use those links to get in touch with them. There's so much down below. Does anyone have a pen? No need, Tommy. You can find everything on our website, YouTooSpain.com. And don't forget the Facebook page and the YouTooSpain community group, where you can talk to other people like you. There's no one like me, sweetie. Thank goodness. Is that everything? There's a guest waiting to tell me things. Oh, I do like things. Where's
Where's Doogie Dog? That used to be his line. I'm stuck behind a wall.
Oh, sorry, Doogie. I'll come and find you after the show.
Thank you, Master.
Get back to the show. I need to go and punch some servants.
Oh, Colonel. Back to Skatz in the studio.
Thank you very much, Skatz, Walter, Dick, Tommy, Colonel, and the Doogie Dog for joining us. If you have any questions for any of them, then ask in the comments. So let's just have a quick check on the chat, see if we've had any other questions. Steffi was still asking about the power of attorney and the NIE. Let's just put her question up and see whether we actually answered it. I think we were in the middle of answering that question when it came up. So just clarified this for us. We'll be in Lanzarote for 3 weeks in July, and I was wondering whether we'd be able to get the NIE number then in person. Do we need to be physically in Spain to get the NIE, or is that the power of attorney bit? What's the best way, do you think?
Yes. Okay. If you are able to get the person when you are there, you can get the NIE in person, but you have to be there. But if you are not able to get the appointment, the best way to do it is through a lawyer with the power of attorney. And the thing is, if they will be in Lanzarote for 3 weeks in July, probably if they are not able to get the NIE appointments, my advice is to do a power of attorney in a notary there, because it will be cheaper than the UK. At least to make the power of attorney there, and then the lawyer will get the NIE for them.
Great. And Eclipse Me says, we like the agent that found us our rental. We're ready to purchase and want to use the same agent. Does this seem like the best path forward, or does this limit what properties we will be shown?
I think if they trust the agent and they are happy with the agent, I think a good advice to use the same agent. Okay, the same agent. Okay, this is not a conflict or is not a problem. Okay, it's very important to know the person who is going to work for you. If they feel comfortable with this agent, okay, I think they can use it without any problem. But this is one of the question we will see later about the agent fees, but it's a question related with these kind of things. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I always found that the minute we started searching for, we were searching for rental properties, of course, but it's the same kind of thing. If you're actually there in front of the estate agent, talking to them face to face, and you've got a good relationship with them, then it's a good idea to stick with the one that you like and trust. Yeah. And they actually came up with properties that weren't in the window, ones that they'd just heard about, or ones that local people knew about, but they'd not been taken up by the estate agent yet. So it's a good opportunity to get something that's unique. It's not even on the market yet. Okay, let's move on to, where were we up to? Number 5.
Number 5. Okay. Not asking for a list from the beginning. 2 important documents. Okay. Nota Simple and the Cadastre. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Nota Simple in the Spanish system is the certificate from the land registry to show who is the owner, the description of the property, if the property has or not mortgages, debts, or any problem. Okay. It's very important to say that this information is public in the Spanish system. Okay. Anybody can go to the land registry and apply for the Nota Simple to check the property. Okay. It's also the same for the Cadastre. The Cadastre is what the government, the tax office used to pay the rates bill, not to calculate the rates bill. These 2 documents are for us very important. That means that if you ask for this document from the beginning and they don't give you this document, it's a good way to filter if it's a scam or not. Because if they say, no, I'm not going to show you the Nota Simple from the land registry or even the Cadastre, that's a bad thing. because if it's public information, why they don't want to show you? Okay, and this is the minimum two documents we have to, as lawyer, we have to double check from the beginning. Okay, because we have to be sure the person is selling is the owner. We have to be sure the description of the property is clear and is according to the cadastre also. And we need to know if the property has mortgages or not. If the seller doesn't want to share this thing with you, be careful, because probably it's a bad thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Good to know. Tim Hawkins, talking about surveys. This is another good point. We're currently buying a house. We'd like a specific survey for the pool area, as there is some subsidence. Would we need a specialist, like a structural surveyor, or will an architect do?
Okay. The survey is not something very common in the Spanish system. Okay. I know in the UK or in the US is something like an obligation, okay, but not in Spain. What I advise is, depending on what kind of property is, try to get the survey or not. Why? Because it's not the same to buy an apartment in a block with no more than 4 or 5 years, okay, because in the building, in the Spanish system, this kind of buildings have the obligation to have an insurance for the structural things and all these kind of things, okay? But if you're going to buy a villa, a house, my advice, try to make a survey, okay? In the Spanish system, this kind of work is for the architect, okay? You have to find an architect, okay, to do this. In the Spanish system, the architect is the person responsible for doing this kind of technical reviews, okay? In the Spanish system, we have two kind of architect, okay? We have the superior, what we say arquitecto superior, okay? Is the architect that you have the obligation to use, for example, to build a new house, okay? Or to design the project. And then what we call arquitecto técnico is something technical architect, or even in Spanish perito, okay? They are also prepared for doing this kind of survey, and you can contact any of them, okay? But the person you have to find is an architect to do this.
Mm-hmm. Great. Hope that answers your question. Right. Okay. What I'm going to do now, I've got a health issue. I'm going to have to go to use the bathroom. So can I ask you, Fran? I'm just going to put you up on the screen. Can I ask you to do number 6? And if you come to the end and I'm still not back, do number 7 as well.
Okay.
So I'll be back with you in a moment.
Okay.
Oops, that's the wrong one. I clicked the wrong button.
Okay. The number 6 is very important, okay? Is not asking who pays the state agent commission, okay? It's very important to bear in mind that in Spain, we don't have a general rule about who will pay the fees of the real estate, okay, or the commission. You know that in the UK or the US, usually it's only the seller who pays the commission. But in Spain, we don't have a rule for this. That means that you will see a lot of different situations, okay? Sometimes, depending on the area and even depending on the real estate, you will see only the seller pays the commission. You will also see the commission of the real estate will be shared 50 and 50, 50 for the seller, 50 for the buyer. And sometimes, this is not the more common, the common way, okay, is only the buyer will pay the commission. But we are talking about a lot of money, because the commission, to have an idea in Spain about the percentage to pay, is something like 3, 4, 5, even 6%. That means that when you are going to buy a property, it's very important to clarify from the beginning if you have to pay or not the fees of the commission, because when you are doing the calculation about the total cost, we are talking about a lot of money. Okay. My advice is to avoid any problem, any surprises. Clarify this from the beginning. Is very, very important to ask from the beginning, okay, who will have to pay the commission of the real estate? Okay, if they say, don't worry, only the seller will pay the commission, that's fine. If it's 50 and 50, it's very important to know what percentage has to be paid by the buyer. Even to be sure, not only the buyer is the person who is going to pay the commission. What is the key here? When you are looking for a lot of properties, when you are Googling or trying to find real estate services, what I suggest is try to get this real estate agent who only charge the seller, because they are going to do all the work for you, and you are going to save a lot of money. Okay. For example, in my experience, when you use a real estate who is specialized in international clients, they usually charge only the seller. Okay, but however, if you use a local one, an agent that is a local one, they are not very specialized in international client, they will charge depending on the area. For example, for my experience in Malaga area or Andalusia area, it's very common only the seller pays the commission. Okay. However, in Valencia area, for my experience, usually is 50 and 50. Okay. The key here is from the beginning, ask this question to the real estate. So, okay, who has to pay this? That's fine. Okay. Because if not, we are talking about a lot of money. Imagine 3, 4, 5% on the price. Is a lot amount of money.
Great. I heard all that. My headphones work still outside. That's really good. Right. Did we have a question there? Oh, yeah. Well, this is interesting. Eclipse Me says, some of my funds are invested in US treasuries with various maturities. Is it reasonable to ask to make payments over a year as these come due? Do you mean for a mortgage, or what is it that you mean there? Maybe you can explain a bit more.
Yes, I don't know. Okay. To make the payments, imagine that I have some funds or investment, no, and I can get them in a year time. Okay, and if you are able to find a seller who agree, wait until this is done. Okay, this is possible. Okay, if they are talking, more like owner
financing short term.
Okay, owner financing. Okay, if you are speaking about to getting a mortgage here in short term, now, for example, I have a lot of clients from the US. They are getting mortgages even if they don't need the mortgage, because the rates in the US is higher than the interest, the mortgage in Spain are. Okay, that means that in your financial situation, probably you have to make this calculation to say, okay, probably it's a good idea to get a mortgage on the property. And a Spanish mortgage, we are talking about a Spanish mortgage, what is possible for the non-resident. Okay, compare, okay, the rates. Okay, if you can get more rate in your country than the rates in a Spanish mortgage, I think is a good investment.
Oh, he's saying no mortgage, pay according to a schedule which is tied to the Treasury payments. I think probably the best thing for you to do here is to get in touch with Fran directly, because this is a very specific set of circumstances, and it's not going to be relevant to everybody who's watching. and I think we should move on with the next thing, if that's okay with you. Sorry, not to answer every particular part of your question, but I think anything you say is going to beg more questions, and you need to go in depth with this. I think there's a lot needs to be looked at. There you go. They say thanks. So yes, let's move on to number 7.
Number 7. This is something very new. Okay, very new. It's from in Spain. It's new from 2022. Okay, it's not asking the reference value. Okay, I'll try to explain what is the reference value, or in Spanish, the valor de referencia. Okay, we have in Spain a new law from the beginning of 2022 that say that if you find a property with the real price, imagine 100,000 euros, okay, but this value is over this 100,000 euros, the transfer tax you have to pay will be applied on the reference value. That means that if you find a nice opportunity, a very good price, it's very important to make your calculations about the total cost to know if the reference value is under or over the real price. If the reference value is under the real price, you will pay the taxes on the price, okay? In Andalusia, 7% is the transfer tax. In Valencia, is 10. Madrid, 6, okay? But if the valor de referencia, or the reference value, is over the real price, you will have to pay on this value, even if you pay the real price. Okay.
Okay. Is that the cadastral value?
No. Okay. This is another value, because the cadastral value is more for making the calculation for the rates bill, the IBI. Okay.
Okay.
But this value was thought by the government especially to avoid something that happens just before this law, because with the previous system, when you bought the property, the administration, the tax administration, had 4 years to review the value. Okay, they thought, okay, if the market value is over the real price, you will have to pay this on this new inspection. But to avoid problem with the core, because a lot of people appeal the value of the market value of the property, they decided, okay, we are going to put the valor de referencia, and we are going to avoid any fighting at court, okay? And for this reason, it's also true that usually the valor de referencia is under the real price, but sometimes this is over. And if you have to think in the calculation about the total cost of the transaction, it's very, very important to know what is the valor de referencia. In my experience, Andrew, the good professional from the real estate usually give you this information, okay, as a buyer. But if not, before to buy the property, it's very important to ask what is the reference value, to be sure you don't have to pay more in the transfer tax than the real price.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I forgot to mention that this reference value is updated every year. Okay. This is calculated in theory according to the Spanish government, making some calculation with information from the notaries, real estate, and mortgages and things like that. Okay. It's also true that rural properties, countryside, almost nothing has this valor de referencia. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, especially is the urban properties. Okay, but I think in the future we will have all the property with this reference value.
Great, good. Let's see. Should we move on to number 8 then?
Number 8, not considering the future sale and purchase, accepting any discrepancy in the property description. Okay, this is something probably I remember you told me, okay, Fran, to be honest, I don't have very clear what that means, okay? And this is because in the way I explain this is from a very legal point of view, okay? In the Spanish system, especially we have two registries about the description of the property. The most important one is the land registry, okay? In the land registry, you will check who is the owner, the description of the property, mortgages, debt, and things like that. Then we have the cadastre. As I mentioned before, this is to calculate the rates bill every year. You have to pay for the property. Years ago, okay, people who bought a property, especially we are talking about a long time ago, okay, to avoid paying any more taxes, the description of the land registry it was bad, okay? They didn't declare the reality of the property, okay? For example, this is very common in villages, okay? It was very common. They bought long time ago a plot like, for example, 50 square meter. They built the ground floor. Years ago, the first floor, second floor, and then probably they bought to the neighbor a little piece of land, and now we have a very big and nice villa. But they didn't update this at the land registry to avoid taxes and things like that, okay? That means that when I have a client who finds a property, I go to the land registry to double check if I can find any discrepancy between the reality and what the land registry shows. Usually it's the normal thing, okay? You can find some discrepancy. But because we have a new law in Spain to try to update the description of the properties at the land registry and connecting with the cadastre, we have some legal procedure to update this and to have the property perfectly described at the land registry. That means that if I have a client who finds a property, this is probably one important thing I am going to do as a lawyer, okay? Because I have to explain to my client, one moment, we have a discrepancy here. You have to think that if you are going to sell the property in the future, probably the lawyer of the possible buyer is going to do the same I am doing. And probably the buyer will not buy the property, okay? That means that it's also true that you can buy the property as the property is and then update the property. But my advice is put this on the roof of the seller, okay? Why? Because this updating at the land registry sometimes have some problems, because this is a special procedure where the land registry has to send letter to the neighbor to say, okay, do you agree with this? Your neighbor boundaries are this. And sometimes if you have one problem with this, it's a big problem, okay? For this reason, it's very important when you are going to buy the property, be aware about if there are any discrepancy or not with the reality and the land registry. Because if the property is perfectly described, once you decide to sell the property in the future, if you find a buyer, will be much easier to close the agreement, because the lawyer is going to say, okay, this property is perfectly described. Go ahead. No, this is what I mean. Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you. Very well explained. Even I understand it now. That's great. And Tim Hawkins says that's what our lawyer found, a discrepancy. Presumably that's what you meant. So yeah, very good to know. Okay, I think that covers number 8. Let's go on to number 9. We're rapidly moving on to the last 2.
Okay. Number 9. I hope the taxman is not here in this live show.
Yeah.
But okay, I try to explain it in a little way. Okay. It was very common in Spain years ago. In order to avoid, you know, when you are buying, you have to pay the transfer tax on the price. Okay. People thought, okay, if I don't mention the real price at the notary, I am going to save some money, because imagine if the real price is 100,000 euros, you have to pay the 7% on this. But if you agree with the seller, only declare 50,000, you will pay 7% on 50, and the other 50 you have to pay in cash. Okay. It's true that for my experience, this is something I don't strongly recommend to anybody, and now it's not easy to see. Okay, but sometimes some sellers, especially private seller, mention this to the buyer and say, no, if you pay me in cash this, you are going to save some taxes. Okay, try to avoid this. It's much better to pay what it is. Okay, for a lot of reasons, especially for the money laundering things. Okay, but how a non-resident is going to justify to take 50,000 euros in cash from where? Because what you cannot do is go to the bank the day before, take 50,000 in cash, and then go to the notary and pay in cash. It's very clear for the taxman to say, hello, what's happened here? You take 50 in cash and then 50 in a check. What happened with this? This is something illegal. Don't do that. Okay, this is my advice. Another important reason is, okay, you are going to save some money with the 7%. But what's happened when you decide to sell the property in the future? The capital gain, okay, is 19%. That means that if you pay something in cash when you are buying the property, this money will not appear. That means that you are going to pay 19% on this money when you decide to sell the property. The capital gains will be a lot. For this reason, avoid any payment in cash. Okay.
Good point. Very good point. Let's see. Let's just to remind. Oh, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to the person who hovered over the QR code in that corner there and has donated some money. Thank you very much. You know, if you're getting some value out of this show, then please do that. That is much appreciated. And make sure you hit the like button, which is down there somewhere as well. And also there's a $sign down there, which there's a different way of giving to the show as well. And if you do want to get in contact with Fran directly, there's an email address. It's actually our email address. It's the YouTooSmile@gmail.com, and I will pass that on straight to Fran. And there we go. So let's move on to number 9 then.
Number
10. Sorry.
10. Number 10. The number 10 is very connected with the number 9. Okay, agreeing that the total price will be the sum of the property price and the furniture price. Okay. Very common when you're going to buy the properties. Okay, we can declare this is the price of the property and this is the price of the furniture. Okay, and why sometimes this is suggested? This is suggested because the transfer tax for the property is in Andalusia is 7. Okay, and for the furniture is 4. And they say, okay, we are going to save the 3% on this price. But firstly, when you do this, depending on the value you give to the furniture, an inspection is possible from the tax office, okay? Because they are not sure that this is true. And this is a terrible headache because you have to give a lot of explanation, okay? And secondly, for the same reason I mentioned before, for the capital gains. Because when you have to calculate the capital gains in the future, when you are selling the property, okay, this payment of the furniture is not included, okay? The calculations will be only according to the value you gave to the property, not to the furniture. That means that in a short term, you are going to save only 3% in Andalusia, for example, but you have to think in the 19% that you probably will have to pay in capital gains in the future, okay? For this reason, I usually don't advise to do this, okay?
Great. So we've got through to number 10. That is brilliant. So can I just say to everybody, if you have any more questions on the live chat, before I tell you who's on next week's show and before we round up, then ask me now. There's like a 20-second time delay. So while you're doing that, let me just remind you that if you have any questions after we go off the air, then you can put them in the YouTube comments below. Make sure it's under the video on YouTube, not on the Facebook group that you were linked to find the link to the YouTube, because those questions and answers won't be then available to everybody who watches the video. But if you put them underneath the video, then everybody can see that and benefit from it. And yes, everybody will get the answer you need for free. It's a win-win-win with a cherry on top, as I always say. And again, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe and click on the bell if you haven't already, so you'll be the first to know what's coming up each week on the live shows and the midweek videos and on the video diaries on Friday. So, any more questions? I can't see any more questions. Is there anything else you've got to tell everybody, Fran, just to round up?
Just to say, okay, to buy a property in a country that is not your country is not something easy. Even for us as the lawyers, sometimes it's a challenge, no, for some kind of properties, okay? Some people probably will say, okay, but it's your work, you are very interested, but it's not for this reason. Sometimes I was able to see bad things for some people for this reason, trying to save some money from the lawyer, and finally it was more and more expensive. Okay, that is try to find a good lawyer and use the lawyer to buy the property. If you bought 10 property in Spain, probably you will have enough experience to buy more properties. But for your first property or your second property, use a lawyer.
Absolutely. Good advice. So, yes, that's all the questions for now. So what we'll say is huge thanks, Fran, from everybody, from me especially, for coming on the show. And everybody give Fran a massive virtual hug and a kiss, and I'm sure we'll see you again very soon.
That's perfect. My pleasure. Lovely. My pleasure, Andy.
Goodbye for now.
Okay, bye.
So, who do we have on the show next week? Well, it is, of course, Chris from Upsticks, because he's on every 2 weeks, and we'll be taking you through, this is something that a lot of people have been asking about, how to fill in all of the forms for the non-lucrative visa. We'll take you through. I'm going to have a special camera set up, if I can find a way of doing it in the studio, so that I will be filling in the form while Chris tells me exactly what to do. We'll take you through lots of examples and lots of it depends. And so that's next week's show. And then 2 weeks after that, we'll be taking you through the residency forms that you need to fill in exactly the same way. So that should be very, very useful. I'll be putting a link up on the YouTooSpain website so that you can download a copy of each of the forms for yourself. So check out the blog page for those links on YouTooSpain.com. I've not put them up yet, but I will do very shortly. Don't forget you can ask questions in advance on our Facebook page and group, or under any of the videos. Feel free to chat away and share your experiences of moving to Spain and living here. And thank you to everybody who's been on the live chat this morning. You've had some excellent questions, and for joining in on the chat, and for leaving comments, hitting the like button and supporting us with donations and memberships. It is very much appreciated. I'll see you either on the midweek video or the video diary on Fridays, or live next week at Saturday mornings at our regular time of 9 o'clock if you're in the UK or Ireland or Portugal or the Canary Islands, or 10 o'clock in the morning if you are Central European time in Spain. And that is all for this week. Somebody pass around the property cookies. Peace and love to you all, peas and fluff. And here's one final message from all of the voices in my head at YouTooSpain. Bye bye for now.
Goodbye. Toodaloo.
Peace and love.
Peas and fluff.
Oi, oi!
Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
One more cosmic dance?
All right then. Look, Mum, I'm dancing.
Oh, I'm all a quiver.
Let's dance.